I have cold open. This will be fun. Let's do this. Hold on.
Mike Devine. On Energy 108.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get a city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get a city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get a city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1662 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Yes, we are open. An award-winning podcast hosted by FOTM Al Grego from Monaris. Silverwax.ca. Use the promo code TorontoMike10 at the checkout to save 10% at silverwax.ca. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Building Toronto Skyline, a podcast and book from Nick Iones, sponsored by Fusion Corp Construction Management, Inc. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making his Toronto Mike debut, it's Mike Devine.
Hello.
Mike, from one mic to another, welcome to your Toronto Mike debut.
Thank you so much for having me. You know, I'm 1,662.
That's a good number, right?
I like that number.
I heard that's a lucky number.
It's one off from a mirror reflection of Celsius to Fahrenheit and how I remember temperatures. 16 is 61.
So you're old enough to remember when we gave the temps in Fahrenheit? I don't believe that.
Well, I wasn't on the radio at that time, but I do remember being in grade 4, and Mr. Mullen said, you know what, we're going to do these things backwards and forwards. He'd have us come up to the front of the class, and he would say, how many inches in a mile? How many feet in a yard? How many bushels in a peck? And we'd have that thing memorized, and I'm going home feeling good about myself, going, you know what, I know this stuff backwards and forwards. The first time I've ever known anything backwards and forwards, I walk into grade 5, and they give us this ruler, and it's got these itty-bitty little things on it, and I'm going, where's the inches? And there are no inches. They're now centimeters. And I'm like, oh, man, I just learned all this stuff. You mean we're changing everything? We're changing everything. And then all of a sudden at lunchtime, I'm seeing kilometer an hour, but 50 becomes 30. Yeah.
Well, listen, I just read a piece about some CFRB news guy who refused to convert. So, we were all moving over to metric, and he refused to switch from Fahrenheit. And I was just reading about this guy, one of the veterans. I'm sure he's a very famous news person from CFRB back in the day. But, Mike, the question off the top.
Sure.
Is this a fake name, Mike Devine? That's too perfect a radio name.
You know what? I get that a lot, and it's actually, I'm going to come clean. It is not an egotistical, self-explanatory name. I didn't give myself the nickname. It's actually Irish. So I come from.
But is that
Irish
your
background.
birth name?
Yeah, it is actually.
You know what? You were blessed with a kick-ass birth name. Why change it if you're born Mike Devine?
I kind of lucked out on that one. Yeah, Irish. It's Michael John Devine is my real name. So yes, Mike Devine. Yeah, thank you. And you know what? Yeah, I lucked out. And my daughter, her name is Tia Devine. People go, she should be in show, but she wants nothing to do with show business. She's got the better name than I do, and she won't use it. So,
well, what a waste there. But okay, and I root for the Mikes. There are a lot of us though. Like if you're born in certain decades, like the decade you're born in and the decade I'm born in, like half the guys are named Mike.
There's saints called Mike.
Well, there's a major saints, and like. What's that top tier archangel, I guess, in the Bible? Like, there's an
Michael
archangel
is up there.
Michael. Yeah.
I think he rates up there.
So a lot of Mikes out there. You, my friend, have had, and you're not done yet, but you've had quite the career in radio. Is it fair to give Scott Turner credit for connecting us?
Absolutely. Yes. I go back with Scott Turner back at the old Energy 108 days. And I definitely would credit him for us meeting. That's for sure.
You mean these days right here?
North America's dance music powerhouse.
CING FM 107.9.
Energy 108.
Now, those are the ones from the first frequency when they were on 107.9. Wow.
Okay.
That's the early days, that one.
Okay, but am I nuts? So, but isn't 108 107.9?
Yeah, they kind of rounded it. One of the things that
Like Q107 is Q107.1.
Yeah, but you
we
see,
round it off.
Back then it was just 107 because the digital didn't come in yet.
Right.
Then digital did come in, and we called ourselves Energy 108 or Dance 108 at first. And people, when we were at the clubs, they would come up to me and they'd say, I can't find you on the dial. There's 108.0.
Right.
And I said, yeah, it's 107.9. So then we started, we kind of brought it up in a meeting and said, can we just say 107.9? Energy 108.
Right.
At first, the owners did not want to do that, and then we just kind of did it anyway. And the popularity went up saying that because we actually were telling them where to go. 107.9 is Energy 108. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I can find you. But up until about late 1992, people were like, I can't find you. There's no 108 on the dial. So to answer that, we just kind of threw the 107.9 in with the ID back then.
Okay, I got a bunch of cool IDs, and I'm gonna burn a couple now, and then we're gonna bring you like pre 108, and then we'll talk about Dance 108 becoming Energy 108.
Okay.
And talk about that. Then you're at a whole bunch of chorus stations. I got some air checks. We're gonna find out what you're up to now. Okay. You're gonna get some swag. I'm gonna get some swag. This is gonna be the time of your life, Mike Devine.
This is just gonna be in complete Technicolor. Panoramic.
I'm not even going to record this. I just wanted to have a chat with Mike Devine. So let's listen.
It's not how big our tower is. It's what we do with it. Energy 108.
Yeah, there was some...
That's a penis joke.
Definitely a lot of the dick jokes. It was the early 90s. People nowadays get their shock from TikTok. Back then it was radio, and you learn new music from radio. Now people want to hear the hits. Back then, we kind of pushed the envelope. There was some other IDs in there. I think there was another one that said, is that the CN Tower in your pocket, or are you just happy to hear us?
Why not, right? And, you can make a dick joke now if you like, Mike Devine, but this is a measuring tape courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of this community, and I'm giving you this measuring tape now, Mike. So I would normally say measure what you wish, and then I would expect you're either going to do a joke about measuring what size coffin you need, which is a common go-to one.
That's a good
one.
Or
the noise lady who was here recently was... She had a penis joke, so it all depends on your vibe.
Well, I think we'll just stick to centimeters because the number's more impressive.
We got back to see. This is why you're on the radio. You got back to the metric system.
Had to get back to the metrics. 1661, but this is episode 1662.
Absolutely. My friend, I want to find out when you fell in love with radio and what you were up to before you got to 108, which is really 107.9. There's we've already just learned, but please, like, how old were you when you realized I'd like to talk into a microphone? What gave you the courage to do so, and where does it all begin for Mike Devine?
Okay, well, there was no courage at the beginning. I had a record player at 3. My dad DJ'd. He gave me his spares. My mom dusted off my toys.
Wait, your dad DJ? I know I'm going to interrupt because I'm rude, but
sure, no
like,
problem.
is he like doing like school dances and stuff or weddings? Like,
he was doing the weddings, the mobile, the legions, that sort of thing, and school dances at that time.
Can I ask you, was he with a company?
No, he's on his own, actually.
On his own, okay. Only because Bob Willett, he's on Indie 88 now, but his dad would DJ as part of this DJ company that would go do like weddings and stuff.
Yeah, do you know the name of it?
I'm gonna. It's gonna come to me, but it's like DJ Limited or I don't know, something like that.
Oh, Disc Jockeys Unlimited.
Yeah,
yes, my dad knows who they were.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What a small world we live in.
Yes, they almost did some stuff together, but it never really materialized. But yeah, he did mention them quite a bit.
But if your dad's DJing, and that almost answers the question. I mean, you're going to watch your dad. He's doing this thing. You're gonna be like, I want to do that.
Well, you know what? It was funny. He was always playing the records. We have a very musical house. And one time he took me out with him. I was 12. There was no one to watch me. My mom was busy. And so it's like he never wanted to really take me because, there's alcohol and adult stuff. So, he actually took me once. And he used to do lip syncing really, really well. And I didn't know he did that. And he just did this really amazing, show. And everybody was watching him. All of the wait staff stopped to watch him. And I'm like, holy smokes, this is my dad. Like I've never seen this side of my dad perform. And it was just like, whoa, this is incredible. How does he have the guts to do this? I am so nervous. I'm the most scared person in the room. How am I going to be able to get through to do that?
Right.
And that was the question I had for a long time. So I started DJing, but I was with a partner. He did the talking, I did the spinning. Radio came a little later than it was CKLN.
CKLN. Okay, man. Now that's 88.1 out of a now TMU, but it was a Ryerson University at the time.
Yes, it was.
Although it wasn't a university at the time.
I think it was a polytechnical.
Because I know when I was at U of T, I would never make such jokes because I was impressed if anyone had a brain to get into any institution of higher learning. But others who are less appreciative than I would joke it was Rye High, the polytechnical institution.
That's right, Rye High. I do remember that name.
That was
I remember getting
the
poked on
assholes
that.
I saw at U of T, not me. Not me.
Rye
Mike.
High. You can come over here to 89.5 CIT.
So what are you doing at CKLN?
Well, I first started there. I was just like, I went in and I said, what is this all about? You can volunteer to be on the radio? I got to try this out because I love the DJ booth at the Terrace. I skipped that part. When I was 15, I started working at the Terrace roller rink and I just loved it. And at that time, I started watching WKRP. So watching what my dad could do live, watching WKRP, and then this little DJ booth in a roller rink.
Is that Venus flytrap phoning you right now, Mike Devine? So Mike Devine's phone it can't be
Johnny Fever.
Yeah, but he died. I feel like this has to be maybe it's Les Nessman. Let's
turn
see.
this thing off.
Winner of the Buckeye
News Hawk Award or something.
Oh yeah, he did the Sow Pig Reports or whatever for
the
the
Sow Reports.
Yeah.
This thing just doesn't want
You're
to stop
talking
ringing.
you're talking to a WKRP fanatic over here. I
think
love
someone
that
hears
show.
this.
I think that show made me want to be in the radio, but you know how you had no courage, but you saw your dad doing it or
Courage.
whatever? Couldn't
Yeah.
come at a worse time. I just never even considered I couldn't even imagine my voice in a microphone coming out somebody's speakers because I didn't sound like the voices I heard on the radio.
Yeah, everyone hates hearing themselves at first, especially at first.
Well, I got used to it after 62 episodes. But back to your story, and I'll
Yeah.
try not to interrupt as much.
No.
But what are you doing at CKLN?
CKLN, I started there as a volunteer, and this guy who's really street smart, a real good talker, he walks up to me, puts his arm around me, real fast talker, one of those guys you just wanted to know. He was one of the real high energy guys. And he put his arm around me, he goes, how would you like to be production manager here?
Oh.
And I go, well, I was at Trebas Institute. I wanted to be a recording engineer, but I'm trying this radio thing out. This seems to be a good fit. Recording? Yeah, I took school for recording. And he goes, well, have you ever heard of Futures? Well, Futures was a grant back in Ontario back in the 80s. They place you somewhere, they give you a grant, get 12 weeks paid.
Amazing.
He said, well, I found it for myself, this place. So I tell you what, why don't you go to Futures, tell them that I got a job here for you, and you'll be funded for 12 weeks.
Wow.
So I went and got these interviews. I got an interview with Dave Barker and Rick Lyjik over Q107. I got an interview with Chum FM, CHFI, CKEY. And I sat down with all the production managers because I had no idea how a production department worked.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, tell me all about these production departments. And then I built my own. And I made my own production department. I was production manager there for about a year. And then I started, then I met up with Ron Fitzpatrick and started going into on air.
Okay, who is the person who put their arm around you, and who you didn't name the person? Do you want to name that person?
Craig Hamilton. I don't know where he's gone. Craig Hamilton, just one of those characters, you know, you meet and then he's gone. And his spirit still resonates. I don't know if he's still with us, but he had the highest energy ever. Did you ever see that movie, The Couch Trip, with Dan Aykroyd and Walter Matthau?
You know, I don't think I did.
Okay, well, Dan Aykroyd's character in that movie was so much like this guy.
Oh, wow.
This guy, like, he actually went to prison. He actually fit in, like, perfectly. He was actually running things. This guy's the kind of guy walk into a room and just run things.
Did you, so in your 4 years when you're at CKLN,
Yes.
which was 88.1, of course, now that's the home of Bob Willett on indie radio, of course, CKLN, no longer on the terrestrial airwaves. But
Yes.
please tell me anybody who crossed paths with. Like, I'm thinking, was DJ Ron Nelson there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe just shout out some of these CKLN voices that were
goodness.
there at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Taking you way back here, Mike.
Yeah, May Potts and Brian Wilson were there. David Ahmad. I used to do Dave's dance music, fill in for him. I used to do an oldie show playing old funk once every 3 months. That show ended up becoming the Phoenix later. We'll get to that. Also, Ron Nelson, I used to fill in for him whenever he was away.
Like on Fantastic Voyage?
Yeah, I used to do that show for him whenever he was away.
Wow.
I bring in my R&B and hip hop records for Dave's dance music. I bring funk stuff and dance music in house, and and I do production during the week and make the commercials and fill in for the dance music shows there. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Now you, I don't even know. Do they pay you?
Well, yes and no. To be on air at CKLN, it was volunteer.
Okay.
But I was on that Futures
But if you're a
gig.
production manager at CKLN, is there some stipend or some stipend that they give you a couple of bucks? Or
well, I had that Futures.
You were doing it for the experience, then.
The Futures grant.
Futures grant.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then they took me on and they kept me for a while, and they kind of made room in the budget for me.
But at some point, you end up on 640. Is that right?
Yes, when I was a board op at Q107 and AM 640.
Q107 and 640.
Yeah,
right.
they were joined together, and at the time, one was at Young and Bloor, way before the Young and Norton days. I was at the first tower at Young and Bloor, looking south.
Okay.
And at the time, they weren't bunked in with their AM station, AM 640, which at the time was CFGM Country.
You know, people my age probably don't remember it as a country station, so that's wild. I mean, I'm thinking now it was like the Hog for a while. I'm going to say when I
It
was a
became
teenager.
the Hog when they were playing classic country. You know, they're playing DIVORCE, divorced by,
Is that Tammy Wynette?
Dolly Parton.
Is that DIV? Are you sure?
You know what? You should check.
I actually going to do the Google. I
think it
feel
was
like
Dolly.
DIVORCE. I feel like that's Tammy Wynette.
I turned my phone off, so I can't look now.
But you know, guys like us only know Tammy Wynette from the KLF.
Oh, of course, because she was Samuel. Yeah,
KLF is going to rock you.
Yeah, Caleb's going.
So-
We didn't have that yet.
All right, I'm going to.
She wasn't rocking
So
yet.
tell me a little bit about what you were doing at 640 and Q107 at this time while I confirm that Tammy Wynette wrote.
Well, I was
DIV.
back then. I was a board op, so I was basically doing what on-air people do, except I didn't open the microphone and talk yet.
It's
so I was-
Tammy Wynette, 1968. DIVORCE.
So we're playing stuff like that, and then boom! I'll tell you a little. I can say this now.
Yeah.
So I was one of the only people that knew that classic country was going to become a metal station. I told one of the bosses, I got to be careful what I say here. Okay, I told
No,
one
Mike,
of the
listen, this is the home of real talk. There is no careful. Let's go.
Oh, good. Okay, so I went to this one particular boss. He said, "You go and take that on-air position in Cambridge. You're fired." Well, I took the job, and he screamed at me and made me go leave the building. So I got this call. I'm driving home. I'm just shaking.
Yeah.
I get this call from a really good PD, the PD of Q107 at the time, Gary Obie. And it's like, my nickname back then was Divinal. Like the
I like
the group.
that.
Like
Yeah.
the group, Divinals.
The Divinal, sure.
Yeah, so it's like, Divinal, what the hell happened over up north at CJ at 640?
Yeah.
I told him the story. And he goes, "Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Nobody knows this, not even our head of sales, which, by the way, one of our heads still complains that he didn't know until he heard it on the radio. I knew in May, and this happened in July.
Right.
He said, "Mike, I'm so sorry that you got let go in that manner. That was kind of verbally violent. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm actually going to fire that guy, and we're going to go heavy metal in about 2 months. And we're going to call ourselves the Hog. We're going to have pig snorts, and we're going to editorialize the news, and only you know." And I was this
Wow.
20-year-old that didn't know what management knew, because he felt so bad for me the way I got fired.
Oh, that's funny.
So he actually said, "You come here, I'll give you a couple of air checks at your station in Cambridge." It was Ron Fitzpatrick gave me my first break out there. It was Gary Obie. He said, "Come into Q107. I'll give you an air check like I give my guys at AM 640, The Hog, and Q107. You know what? My level shot through the
up.
roof because of Gary Obie's, I think 2, maybe 3 air checks he gave me.
Okay.
That and in Toronto, as I was just as a kid, you know, and wow, he really took the time. He took the
Okay.
time.
And at 640, and this is the Hog. This is the Hog era, right?
I was
But
there.
it's country and Hog. Are you there for the flip?
No, I was blown out just before
Okay.
the flip. That's why I was
All
told
right.
about it when I was like, "Oh, sorry, don't feel so bad, Mike, because you got blown out that way." I got something to tell you.
It was a lot of Guns N' Roses, as I remember.
Yeah, when I got let go, that was still in the Tammy Wynette days, and they told me in 2 months from now we're going to be playing Motley Crue.
And then they told you at some point you'll be playing KLF with Tammy Wynette on a different station. And you didn't
Exactly.
believe them. You said, "I don't
Exactly.
believe you." So at Q, you're producing at Q107. You're also producing the Q Morning Zoo, right?
I was filling in. I've worked with Jesse and Jean at the time.
Well, I need these are the names.
Yeah,
Now you got
yeah.
my attention here. Okay, so Jesse and Jean, also FOTMs like yourself, friends of Toronto Mike. And I remember Jesse and Jean on Q107.
Great guys. Yeah, I loved working with them.
Well, Jean is back in town.
Oh, is he really?
Maybe it's like Burlington, but close enough.
Nice.
You know, I'll count that as in town. So Jean's back, but I've been following him on social media, and he's looking for new gigs, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But what were they really like, Jesse and Jean?
Oh man, they were so much fun to work with. Now we're dealing with an era that was not digital, so you better go to the bathroom first because things are moving so fast with Jesse and Jean. We're calling people in their hotel rooms, waking up Madonna, that sort of thing, because Jesse had a way of getting the code names of people in their hotel rooms.
Wow.
Yes, like
Jesse Dillon.
Robert Plant would be the Rex King Band. We called him up. He didn't answer, but we did get a good, healthy F you out of Madonna at 7 a.m. And once she hung up, it was like Jesse and Jean just had that laugh. They would just let it go, right? I'm just sitting there watching.
Was there
pros.
any Peter Gross? Was he at all a part of this Q107 show? Do you
Peter
remember
Gross.
this,
I believe
Jesse
he was,
and Jean?
I think he was in sales. I think I know that name. Jeez,
Well,
yeah.
he was on City TV, but I know
Peter
that
Gross.
yeah,
right,
like, there's
right.
a period of time where Peter Gross is with Jesse and Jean, like just a short period of time, and I believe it's on Q.
Yeah, I wasn't there for
Okay.
that period. I think that was before me.
Because he's a Hall of Famer, that gentleman.
Oh,
I have
definitely.
to ask Peter Gross questions at all times. So any before we'll move you on to some stations I'm not even familiar with, like CIAM.
Oh, that's AM 96. It's now known as Dave Rocks and many reincarnations. AM 96 was that was where I got my first on air radio gig there.
Okay, and that's after this experience with and who owned Q and 640 at this time? Is it?
I think at the
Wick?
time, I think it was Wick. Yeah, Wick or Westcom, or I think it was Wick Radio. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It kept changing.
Pre-chorus.
Just
Okay,
kept changing.
kept changing.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So
Yeah.
if I skip any highlights, because we're on our way to 108, but I'm enjoying
Okay.
the journey here with you, my friends. So now it's known as Dave FM, but it was
I think it's Dave Rocks now.
Dave
Yeah.
Rocks. So you can't keep track. But this is
I know they
Barry?
changed a lot.
No, Cambridge.
Cambridge, yes.
So that's
Yeah.
Cambridge, but there is a station now. It's B101, I suppose. It was CKBB AM, and that
Yeah.
was Barry.
So I've worked on a couple stations that flipped from AM to FM, and I returned in their
Okay.
FM versions. So CKBB, I was there for the AM, B101 for the FM later on, like just a few years ago.
Cool.
And it was an interesting.
And obviously anything I'd be interested in, you'll spit it into the mic. But then there's a stop at Z103.
Yes. I actually had two stops there. Once from 97 and 99 when it was Hits 103. I was music director there for a while and came back in around 2002 to 2008. I was just doing some swing there and doing some gigs. And wow, what a talented bunch over there. I mean, they're still there. They're still doing it.
Well, they're not far from here.
No, they're
You
just
have an
around the
group.
corner from here.
Yeah, Dundas.
Yeah. I was driving around getting reacquainted with the area and I'm going, oh man, yes. Do I have the courage to go and visit, Because
Wow.
I think they're next door from the building. Like they're not in the same building when I was there.
Well, right next door.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is obviously gonna get you to 108. So
Okay.
what gets you? Because I got some clips I'm gonna play once we get to, and I will shout out once again Scott Turner, who came over one day during the pandemic in the backyard, and we did a whole episode of Toronto Mike where we dove deep into the history of Energy 108. So I'm very interested in that story from your perspective, because you were there so very long, and you were there for the flip to Energy 108. And I got some cool audio of that as well. But how do you get the job at Energy 108?
I'll tell you something. When I was working at CKBB, we got an announcement that we were going to have a little one on the way, and radio didn't pay so well when you were part-time in those days. Sure. So I gave up.
Still doesn't pay very well if you're part-time.
That's right.
Come on, Mike.
Yeah, well,
Home of real talk here.
Even worse when you're getting started, believe me. So much so I had to quit radio for a while. I started working for a medical supplies company while the baby was coming. This is about 35 years ago. And every day I'd get home at 4:35, and from 4:35 to 5 o'clock I was building my list of radio stations, and I was just phoning them. And I would send the tapes in fluorescent socks and put the fluorescent paper just to make it stand out.
Right.
But do not erase on the tapes so that they would never go to production and become a commercial. All of that sort of thing. So I applied to one of the people that I was driving along the highway, and all of a sudden, FM 108, which was at the time daytime light rhythm at night, all of a sudden they're playing dance music in the day. And I call up Wayne at the station, and I go, hello, this is Mike.
Is this Wayne Webster?
Wayne Williams, actually.
Wayne Williams. A lot of Waynes out there.
A lot of Waynes, a lot of Mikes. And so I
Right.
called up, and I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he goes, yeah, he was talking on the air saying, we're now Dance 108. We're an urban station, Dance 108.
Right.
Well, I just I'm throwing tapes at them like mad. I'm showing up at their gigs, but I'm Mike. Shake my hand. Mike. Just kept saying my name over and over again. And I got a position there part-time doing Saturdays. I started playing old funk on Saturday nights. Basically, it was my old show that I did for Dave Amott on CKLN.
Right.
But it was now Saturday nights, and instead of it called the Oldies Show, it would be called the Oldies Jam.
Do you want to hear a Mike Devine air check from Dance 108?
Okay, sure.
Okay, this is a little dusty here, and it goes a bit, but feel free to talk over it, like
Okay.
pop up video, or we can just listen together. Let's enjoy.
Okay.
The Tears of Joy on the Rhythm 107.9 Dance 108, and that is Sherelle. How you doing? It's 14 minutes after 11 o'clock, and a reminder to you also that the Adult Basic Education Association of Hamilton Wentworth would like to remind you
PSA
that
time.
adult learning does not have to stop at all. In fact, a number of reading and writing programs are open all year round, and if you'd like more information, you can give a call to the Adult Basic Education Hotline. Their number is 527-2222 for the program nearest you. Never But Always and Shirley Murdoch just around the corner.
Visit McDonald's for the great
All the
taste
old
of our new
ads.
beef fajitas.
Yeah, okay, I kind of like the old ads. We got a McDonald's ad.
Would you like Mexico with us?
See,
I'll bring it down and tell you we eat Palma pasta around here. Do you like lasagna?
You love it.
I got a lasagna in my freezer for you to take home.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
You'll love it. Thank you, Palma Pasta. They'll feed us at TMLX 18 on June 26th.
Palma.
Palma pasta.
For a limited time only.
Listen to those prices. They're a lot lower than now.
25 trips for two
I remember going to U of T and I could get a combo for $3.99.
Oh.
Change for my $5.
It's the ultimate party for your student body.
It sounds like Kenny Coughlin there.
Roadshow. Pumping out the latest and the best new music in a sound and light spectacular
That sounds like
that'll
Kenny.
rock your school block. Or call Dance 108 to host your next community or club event. Our Dance 108 personalities are taking our show on the road. If you like our music, you'll love the Dance 108 Roadshow. Call us today at Dance 108 in Toronto, Mississauga. Phone 798-7608. 798-7608. Burlington, Hamilton, call 681-1079. La Vie, a new way of life. La Vie, a new way of thinking. La Vie, a new way to party. At La Vie, no cover and no limits. Bust into the weekend Thursday with the Beat Bandit, formerly of Still Life. On Friday, the light and sound spectacular continues with DJ Winston Thompson. And DJ Chico keeps the party going Saturday. La Vie, a new way to party. No cover, but a serious dress code. Make this your weekend to check out a new way of thinking. La Vie, 655 Dixon Road in the Skyline Hotel.
Keeping it going on at 16 minutes after 11 o'clock. Mike Devine with you until 3, and this is Shirley Murdoch. Let There Be Love on Dance 108.
Dance 108, Mike.
Wow. We're only Dance 108 for 1 year.
Okay, only 1 year here. And is Scott at the station yet, or is he still at CFNY?
No, this is a good story, actually. This is while Scott was still over at CFNY. And CFNY was still doing their original format. Well, one of their original formats was more of a pop format. And they were just about to go into this new grunge thing that was about to come out with Nirvana and Pearl Jam. And there was this big firing that happened. They just let a whole bunch of
The
them go.
bloodletting day.
It was a big.
Was Don Burns part of this?
Yeah, it was a big flush.
Scott Turner?
Scott Turner was hired, and then we heard that he was going to be the program director for this new version of Dance 108 that was coming. And so we took a vote. It ended up being Energy. There was like 108 jams, 108
Sure.
hits. Let's keep it at Dance. It ended up becoming Energy. It was launched. And they hired Scott as the program director, and he brought everybody over. He brought over Don Burns. He brought over Pam Blair. He brought over Reiner Schwartz, Rhonda Katz, Deadly Headley, Chris Shepard. He brought them all over. And next thing I know, our hallways are filled with people from CFNY. And it was amazing. What an infusion of talent to join up with the already amazing talent that was there. So it was no doubt this was going to blow up, but we had absolutely no idea how much it was going to blow up because we were doing a format no one's ever done before. And we had a few things stacked up against us. One, we had to do a lot of spoken word back then. The FM laws back then, but up until 1993, mid-93, had to play 15% spoken word. Hence, I was doing that PSA for about a minute and a half.
Right.
And also, we had to play 51% non-hits back then. Now, this is the genius of Scott Turner. What he did to make us sound really hip is he took the hits from the British chart.
Yeah.
That
CFNY did the same thing.
Yes. He did the same thing there. And so he had these upcoming songs that were being released in England first. So they would just end up Yeah, we would be on it before the American channels. We had like Kiss 98.5 in Buffalo, up against us, and they could play all the hits they wanted. We had to play 50% none. So basically, by bringing in songs that were future hits in North America, that got us 6 months to 9 months ahead of all of our competition.
And it satisfied that promise of performance, that requirement there as well. Very smart,
Yes.
actually. And CFOI did the exact same thing. They couldn't play the hits. They played the British hits, and you were just ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and that's the brilliance of what Scott Turner did with Energy. He did that, and it really worked. And then when it was time to play all hits, then he made the adjustment. But wow,
But what did you do? I'm curious in this format. Actually, I almost I'm going to play the flip because I've got an audio where we can hear the flip.
Okay.
But then I'm curious because you have to play CanCon. Of course, we have the CanCon
Yes.
regulations.
Yeah.
So for this, a lot of times this is the big when there's enough CanCon you can play. Then it's like you can do the flip or whatever. But who were the CanCon artists that you would tap into to satisfy that requirement? Do you remember?
Well, yeah, there was
Shepard had stuff going on.
He had a few things going on.
BKS, and he had a bunch of stuff.
Well, he was
Lips.
he was the S in BKS, right?
Right.
Becker, Kavanaugh, Shepard, and then they should have put Simone in there somewhere. Maybe she's the S. I don't know, but there wasn't too much. We had Snow. We had to play a lot.
Snow is in
Informer
the
came up a
calendar.
lot.
I got to shout it out. Snow will be in the basement for a deep dive May 5th.
Wow.
So don't miss that, Mike.
We played a lot of the Snow back then. There wasn't enough Canadian pop at the time, so we really had to play the good ones over and over and over. Yeah. And then with the law, and pop music coming to FM, a lot of that woke up a lot of young aspiring artists. Now you can't tell. We had to really fish for the Canadian stuff
even
before.
now thinking, like, who would it be? Is it like before 4? Like, I'm trying to think of who the heck was
Love
that?
and Sass.
Love and Sass, yes.
Oh, boy. Mitsu.
Bye-bye, Monk Cowboy.
Alanis before she was Morissette.
Never too hot, never too cold. Take your best shot, too hot to hold. God, you had to go hunting for... what about Candy and the Backbeater? That's a little old, I guess. That's a little
Candy
dusty by then.
You know what? I had an interview with Alanis, and she had the perm, and she was still doing the pop music. Little did I know a month later she was going to come out with Jagged. And I'm thinking to myself, when CFNY started playing Jagged, and they played that first song with
You ought to know.
Yeah, and with that first song with the whole theater line. And I'm driving the car going, oh, I didn't know that.
Well, they played James's Laid, and that had the line about she only comes when she's on top.
Yes. Yeah,
so I mean,
that's right.
you talk about being edgy. Well, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, but she was all pop, too hot to hold,
I know.
and then boom,
and
I was interviewing her while she was just about to release it, so it was up her sleeve. So good one.
That story is amazing, but only possible because pop artist Alanis didn't break in the States. So the U.S. didn't know this artist at all. We had this Tiffany style,
exactly.
Debbie Gibson style Alanis. We talked about Never Too Hot, Never Too Cold, Take Your Best Shot, Too Hot to Hold. I can't name a second song, but that one was not much music, etc. But
there's a bunch.
She could introduce, Jagged could come out in the U.S. would be like, this is a new artist. This is who Alanis Morissette is. So because that first stuff didn't break there. Like they just simply didn't know it.
Yeah. Well, it would be like bringing "Let Me Take You Dancing" from Bryan Adams to the States. They'd be like, "What?
Oh, the disco stuff."
Well, yeah, well, that was the track. Just so for
like
our
late
listeners
70s?
to know, it was the '70s. They speeded his voice up. He actually had people go and buy all of the copies. I heard, according to Terry David Mulligan on Discumentary,
he would know.
He said that he had someone buy up all of the copies so that no one would have a copy. That's what I heard.
Terry David Mulligan would know. He was all part of that scene at the time. Okay,
I was playing Discumentary at Q107. I remembered. I was listening to what he was saying. So.
Yeah, gosh, Mr. Much West. Okay,
yeah.
Let's listen to the flip. This is Dance 108 becoming Energy 108. It's like we're in a time machine here.
Yeah. Is that old urban stuff? Oh, what's this? Vinyl. Oh, the classic Flatliner. Format changes were a big deal back then.
Yep.
Doing the whole Flatliner.
Oh, it was exciting, right? You wanted to get out your cassette deck and record it.
Oh, this was 12 noon, by the way. 12 noon. It's going to crash in now.
Okay.
Here comes the new IDs. Wow, they really stretched this out.
Go big or go home.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. This was at midnight. Oh, there we go.
Baby, if you ever wonder.
Yeah.
Energy 108.
There it is.
If you ain't cranking it, you must be yanking it. 50,000 watts in FM stereo. 107.9 Energy 108.
Oh, fitting song. Get ready for this.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. That's the very first moment of Energy 108 right there.
History. This is a barroom trivia question. Two unlimited. I feel like I'm at a hockey game.
You know, this is definitely a hockey song.
Or maybe No Limits is a bigger one. Because they had the two big hits, but I think No Limit. These are both good hockey songs. Absolutely.
Y'all ready for this?
That's an anthem.
Wow. What a time.
Okay. I don't know what happens
Two
after
Unlimited,
this.
Gary Thomas inside
Gary.
Energy 108. As we get busy, it is a brand new day, a brand new sound. We're kicking it Southern Ontario. August 31, end of the month, straight up. As we get busy with the new sounding Energy 108. This is Betty Boo, and we will be shaking it, rocking it, and doing the do.
Or doing the do with Betty
Energy
Boo.
108.
You know, I enjoyed this period. It was pre-grunge, but it's well, no. So where are we? Hold on. Let's get a check here. Are we in the early '90s? Right. So grunge
September
is just
92.
breaking. Okay.
September 92. I think this is the day after Labor Day.
Okay.
I think.
All right. So we've got Nevermind. We've got 10 on the CD player, but we got all this great stuff too.
Okay.
All right. Bury me in stories, Mike. I gotta know. Tell me. Oh, what do we got here? Okay. All right.
It's part of the skimmer.
So
I
we're
guess.
now Energy 108.
Yeah, there was a switch. Now, there was a longer version of that where they were playing all of the Dance 108 IDs and they were pretending to cry, saying they lost their job. And then we just went to the part where they were fading out that last song. So, but it was a lot longer than that. But yeah, it was pretty stretched out.
All right, I'm gonna.
So you heard the actual moments of switching from
No, it's
the flat
historic.
line of one into the other. Yeah.
And that imaging voice, and I know Scott Turner tells the story when he does his deep dive into
Yeah.
Energy 108, but do you know the name of that imaging guy with that voice?
Yeah, Bumper Morgan.
See, that's a voice of the
Bumper.
early 90s. That's the voice of Energy
He had a
108.
really processed sound because in real life he had a much higher voice. And
Oh, you mean I can sound like that?
yeah, you could. Yeah, he really did
just
something.
compresses it or whatever?
Well, I did a session with him once. We had to do like all these numbers for a countdown. Number 20. So I'd say, okay, just say number 20. Number 20. Like he'd really make it big. But his voice would change, kind of like
Yeah.
Shaggy does.
You know what? Now, and then next thing you know, what he sounds like Optimus Prime, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? If I find out the filters he's using, I'm gonna start recording in that voice. That is the secret to success.
Right. Yeah.
And you were there.
Toronto Mike. That sort of thing.
Jeez. Okay, I've been
Yeah.
missing out on the filters.
can't
I've been
do it
trying to do
like
it
him.
natural. Let me play this.
Yeah.
We got the power to move ya. Energy 108.
Yeah, it's definitely a bumper more.
It would be funny to hear Bumper. He's recording and he sounds like me, and then he goes and he presses some buttons, and next thing you know, it sounds like this.
If you don't listen, you won't be able to hear us. Energy 108. 108.
Yeah, he always had that really big sound.
Jeez.
Really big sound of the 90s there.
I'm gonna run through a wall here. Goodness gracious, Mike. So you spent, my friend, over a decade at 108. You're basically there for Energy 108. Like
Yeah, pretty much all of it.
pretty much all of it. Like any highlights? Like shout out. You mentioned Chris Shepard. I mean,
Yeah,
these are all names that come up on the show all the time.
Yep, I've worked with all of these people. I've had the pleasure of working with these people. They were my second family. They are my second family. Can't wait for the reunion because everyone's gone in their own direction. But
What reunion? Is there a reunion I should know about?
well, there was before the COVID lockdown. Turner would actually he had a ranch, and we'd usually get something there going on there because there was no neighbors. He was on a farm, but he's moved, so I don't know if they're gonna have parties anymore.
That's right. He has moved. Now,
that farm.
let me ask you. So we've lost Don Burns, but can
Yes,
you
we have.
tell us a little bit about Don Burns? He was DJ Trance.
Dr. Trance.
Dr. Trance.
Yes.
Like what can you share with the listenership? Because Don Burns is he's American, but he
He's also Man of La Mancha in the 70s in Buffalo.
Buffalo Man of La Mancha.
Man of
Okay,
La
speaking of
Mancha.
Buffalo, Nicholas Pickles. There's another name.
Oh yes, Nicholas. I worked with him when we just switched over to 95.3. Don Burns though, Dr. Trance.
back to Don.
He's the guy who he was the guy behind all the biggest raves in the 90s.
Yeah.
Here he was the guy behind it. He was running it. Atlantis, Nitrous, that sort of thing. And he knew everything about the newest and of the newest of trance music. This guy would go up there. He's triple everybody's age, and he's like outplaying the guys in their 20s. He just completely shined right to the very end.
Yeah.
So yeah, big ups to Don Burns, big time.
What about Chris Shepard?
Yeah, Chris, very animated fella. He's very personable. He had that a personality that you would be addicted to. You just want to talk to him because he was really good at remembering people's names, and he had that way. He had all of the right things to the ways of talking to you that makes you want him to talk to you more.
Yeah,
so
speaking of
personable.
voices that might not be the same, but on a Friday night, Chris Shepard coming at you. Like when you're talking to him in
Yeah.
the lunchroom, he's like, "Hey, Mike, how's it hanging?" And then he's all of a sudden he's kind of British or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that is.
Throaty. But if you watch his earlier stuff when he was on CFNY and when he was on CHCH, doing the video show,
the live,
he totally didn't have. He had the Canadian
Club
accent.
102, I think they called
Club
that.
102, and it was like, "Hey, everybody, we're here and we're having a good time." I think it was when he switched from 102 to 108 that all of a sudden this.
All of a sudden, but I do know when I was listening to
Crazy.
Live Days, Chris Shepard on a Friday night,
Yeah.
he did have that on
City of
102.1.
Love.
He definitely had that.
He had that rhyme he used to say. It starts with an I, it ends with a Y. It gets me high every time.
Okay, because I'm trying to think now. He used to say, often imitated, never duplicated.
Yeah, that's the ones that everyone copies. There's a lot of people do the Shep thing, the Mind's Body Soul and all of that, right? On the flex. But he had these other ones that he used to say that people don't usually use now. Like, and it starts with an I, it ends with a Y. It gets me high every time.
It's funny because we talked about Don Burns.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. He's no longer with us. But we talked about Chris Shepard. I noticed lately we were talking about Chris Shepard like he died. But Chris Shepard did not die. But because we haven't heard from him in over a decade, publicly, we haven't heard from him in over a decade.
It's like Pokeroo.
He just disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we're talking here on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, because I produce Humble and Fred's podcast.
Love those guys.
I'm going to tell him. Humble Fred, Mike Devine, big fan. But they went on vacation. They went away for a couple of weeks, get away from this cold. We have a wildly windy, cold day out there today, and they're in better places. But I put together these best ofs I drop in the Humble and Fred feed just to keep it warm for when they come back. And today I dropped what I believe to be the last public appearance of Chris Shepard when he waltzed into the studio in 2014.
No way.
That's 11 years ago, okay?
Yeah.
And the famous question on this show, and I've talked to Scott Turner and Ivor Hamilton and, David Marsden. You name it, I've been asking. But I'll ask you anyway. Like, do you know where Chris Shepard is?
You know what? He is everywhere. He's kind of like taking
So he
on.
did die.
No, I don't think he died. He's kind of like the wolf.
I don't think he died.
Do you remember American Graffiti? Of
course, yes.
The Wolf Man is everywhere, man.
Wolfman Jack.
I think that's what he did. He went up into the air, and he's still around, but no one knows. So I don't know.
But it's wild, right?
Yeah, everyone still talks to, but like everyone's doing the "Where is Chris? Where's Chris?"
I defend a person's right to disappear.
Yeah.
Okay, I want the right to disappear. You have the right. We have the right to disappear. So I'm not actually going to go to Costa Rica and ask the locals if they have you seen a guy talking like this.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't do it.
I'm not looking for him that kind of way. But
that would be funny though if all of a sudden you heard some screams over there, and all of a sudden on a micro, crazy. That would I'd run over. Okay, that's got to be him, man.
So, but I just can't think of an equivalent, and I've been doing this a long time. You've been in this business a long time. I can't think of somebody who dropped out in that manner because they made a documentary about Play to Record. Okay, this is called Drop the Needle.
That's right.
They had to use archival footage of Shep, and Shep he was heavily sought for that documentary. I know the filmmaker, he might be making something about Electric Circus.
Oh, really? That
I
would be
talked to
great.
Joel Goldberg about this yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about EC lately.
Yeah, but
It's kind of
it had
coming
a
up on the
30th.
TikTok.
And it's there's definitely and shout out to Ed Conroy, an FOTM Hall of Famer himself, and of course Joel Goldberg, one of the creators of Electric Circus, and Monica Diol, who will make the trip for these from the West Coast for these. But there is a lot of EC talk, and there is some buzz about a documentary. It's tough to do because Bell Media owns this IP, and it's not an enjoyable experience, I don't think. But there's another doc I'm just going to shout out, which is in the can but not available, and I don't even know if you'll ever see it. But they made a CFNY documentary, and
I heard about that.
They filmed it. The filmmaker wrote me an email the other day to say it's finished. He's got it in Scotland. I guess they're looking for distribution. I'm not sure if this is ever going to see the light of day, but they made it. And I know Humble and Fred were interviewed for it. And I know Alan Cross and Ivor Hamilton and Scott Turner were the executive producers. I don't know their exact title, but they were helping to get the people an interview. And I know this thing was done, but it's nowhere in public. But you can imagine getting Chris Shepard for the CFNY documentary was a high priority.
Could you imagine?
They didn't get him.
They didn't.
No.
Okay.
So, you know,
I was wondering about that.
So, you know, if he's not resurfacing to do a quick, you know, be a talking head in a CFNY documentary, he's not interested in being found.
I guess he just doesn't want to be a part of the old life. I guess.
He wanted to disappear, and he did it. And I just
certainly
can't.
did.
I think it's a fascinating story because you don't see it very often. I can't think of an equivalent in this.
I haven't seen him in person since I think '99 in passing.
Okay. 2014 beats that, but that's still 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Okay, if you get a text from Chris Shepard, let me know, okay?
Yeah, I'm just checking here. No, not yet. Are you listening, Chris?
Chris Shepard. Any other personalities at Energy before we move you off Energy 108 and find out why it ends for you there? But you were there like almost 11 years. You had a
Quite
good
a while,
run at
yeah.
108. That's a long run in radio.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Any other names you want to check?
Wow, there are so many amazing names. I've worked with Wayne Williams, Scott Turner, Roger Day. I'm going to start going blank here, but there is
too many to mention.
There's so many to mention because there's different eras. You know, Tony Monaco. He was with us at Energy. Then he went to Z. Then I went back and forth a couple of times from Energy to Z103. A couple of times, but that Energy, a lot of people came through. A lot of artists came through the door. Met Missy Elliott, Joe Public. There's so many people we've had in there.
Sure.
Because we had those magazine shows, the Street Beat show that Scott and Pam
because you
used to
needed
do.
that foreground programming.
Yeah, we had that commitment we had to do. So we had magazine
Promise
shows.
of performance.
So many artists and club owners came in through those doors. Absolutely incredible, you know.
Wow.
I've had the pleasure of working with so many amazing talents there.
I have some sad news about Bumper Morgan.
Okay.
I hate to break this to you, but my special correspondent 1236 reports that in May 2020, Scott Beals, who was professionally known as Bumper Morgan, passed away peacefully at his home. Oh. He was only 59 years old.
Really?
He had ALS.
I didn't know that.
Right. Formerly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, and that's awful. And so Bumper
is that the thing
Morgan,
Bruce Willis has?
No, that's actually a different thing.
It's a different one?
It's a different one.
I thought it was ALS.
I don't think Bruce has ALS, but he has
something like that.
Something in that family, but I don't think it's ALS.
Okay.
But
my bad.
That's okay. Scott Beals was the real name of Bumper Morgan, and he won't be recording any new bumpers. Sadly, he's no longer with us. So
not in this level, not in this plane. Maybe at where he is now.
Maybe he's up with Don Burns, and they're making because Don Burns did a lot of the imaging for CFNY when Marsden was the program director. He was telling me about bringing Burns in to do the imaging, be the imaging voice.
Yes, that's right.
Look at this. Look at this conversation we're having. We're about to do a swag exchange, and then I have another air check, and I want to talk to you post 108. Maybe we do a little swag. So I've already given you lasagna from Palma Pasta.
Absolutely delish, by the way. Thank you very much.
Well, you can't say that yet. Have you ever had Palma Pasta? It will be delicious, Mike. I'm putting you on the spot. It will be delicious, but, you're going to report back it's the best lasagna you ever had. By the way, if you come to Great Lakes Brewery on June 26th from 6 to 9 p.m., you will get fed by Palma Pasta, and your first fresh craft beer is on the house. That is TMLX 18. Mike, it's worth the drive to South Etobicoke.
It certainly is.
Okay, good for you. This is a speaker for you to kick out the... who are you kicking out there? You're going to kick out the 2 Unlimited... No, 2 Unlimited. Yeah, it was 2 Unlimited. Are you ready for this? This is courtesy of Moneris. Moneris wants you to listen to Season 8 of Yes, We Are Open. This is an award-winning podcast. It's wonderful. Al Grego has gone to Saskatchewan. He's gone to Regina. He's talking to small business owners about their trials, their tribulations, how they adapted, how they became successful. It's inspiring. It's informative. It's just good listening. So you're going to listen to Season 8 of Yes, We Are Open, which is, these episodes are dropping now. You got it, Mike? Enjoy that speaker.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Got it. Okay, and this is exciting. This is a brand new sponsor. Do you enjoy driving a nice, clean car, Mike? You like your car nice and clean?
Absolutely. And nothing pleases me more than a clean car ride.
Cleaning it's only a hassle if you make it one, and that's how they feel at Silver Wax. Silver Wax makes pro-grade auto care and cleaning technology easy for everyone to use. They have kits for beginners, experts, or professionals. It's everything you need. Believe it or not, I'm glad you drove here. This bucket, that's a kit that you're taking home with you, and everything in that bucket, this kit from Silver Wax, is going to make your car so clean, it's going to be a dream come true for you, Mike.
Well, thank you very much. It's just in time for spring cleaning.
Absolutely. Go to silverwax.ca, everybody, and use the promo code TorontoMike10, TorontoMike10. And if you use that promo code, you'll save 10% off your next order. Silver Wax has been proudly Canadian since 1999. You know, we support the Canadian companies here on Toronto Mike. And last but not least, I would encourage you to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca if you have old electronics, old tech, old devices. Don't throw it in the garbage, Mike. You got to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in your postal code, and find out where you can drop it off to be properly recycled. And shout out and much love to Nick Iones. His podcast is called Building Toronto Skyline. He has a brand new podcast we're launching called Building Success. Can't wait to share more information about that. Much love to Nick Iones from Fusion Corp. Okay, Mike, you have any swag for me here, or did you want to, or am I being too presumptuous? Give me something. I gave you so much. Silver Wax, lasagna. This is a record. You know what? Fresh craft beer for you, too. You can bring, you love some fresh craft beer? I'm going to give you some Great Lakes beer as well.
Great Lakes. Make sure you go and get yours now. Great Lakes.
This guy knows. Okay, what's going on here? Mike Devine.
I have some pens here I want to give you.
Okay.
I am currently in undergoing a project.
What can you tell me about this project?
It is an online radio station.
PartyDogRadio.com.
Yes.
.com. It's on the pens in case I forget that.
Music for Generation X.
That's me.
Online. Yeah, that's us. I kept hearing people saying, you Generation X people have such cool music. So I did some research and said, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there's no contest, you know.
And no one's doing it
I'm
yet.
tired of these boomers talking about their 60s, man.
Yeah.
The Gen X got it figured out in the 90s.
So right now in 2025, no one's doing Generation X music yet.
This
So
explains your T-shirt.
PartyDogRadio.com, music for Gen X.
PartyDogRadio.com, music for Gen X. Like, I don't think there's a listener now who won't try the sample the wares at PartyDogRadio.com because the Gen X music, we play a lot of it on this program. You're in the right place, man. Thank you for the pens.
Oh, no problem. I got some stickers, too, that I made up.
Okay. Party Dog.
It was before I had switched over to Generation X, so it just says Party Dog on it. But it is PartyDogRadio.com.
I love stickers.
These are my earliest stickers here.
You know what?
You could collector's item.
Yeah, shout out to Sticker You. These are amazing. Party Dog. Honestly, I love the logo. So, I mean, we'll revisit Party Dog at the end when we find out, you know, what happens post-chorus or whatever. But thank you so much for these gifts. You're a sweetheart. And I just saw now your cup that you're drinking. What is in there? What's in there? Great Lakes beer? But you got a...
Yes, it has definitely... I'm going to be putting this in here.
PartyDogRadio.com. You got all the swag, man.
So we have
PartyDogRadio.com.
PartyDogRadio.com.
Swag.
And also, if I can do a shameless plug for the morning show, Mike and Mandy, which is me and Mandy.
Okay, who's Mandy?
Mandy is my co-host. She does the Mike and Mandy show, her first radio show. And
Mike and Mandy.
Yes, and it's now being played on 7 different online radio stations across the world as we speak.
Okay, I feel like this is a bit of like a Tarantino film. Like we've introduced this Party Dog, and we're going to wrap up your radio career because there's still more Mike Devine post Energy 108. I just wanted to spend some time at Energy 108.
For sure.
But why does it end for you?
Tarantino.
Yeah, right. Okay, you mentioned Bruce Willis moments ago.
Yeah.
He's in Pulp Fiction.
Right
okay, jeez. I think that in 20 years, the only Bruce Willis movies people will care about are Die Hard and Pulp Fiction. I'm just saying that now on the record.
And Blind Date.
Nah, just Pulp Fiction and
that Christmas
Die
one.
Hard. In Christmas, because it's a Christmas classic.
Christmas movie.
Please tell me, Mike Devine, why it ends for you at Energy 108.
Why it does, or
like what happens that you're not like what happens at Energy 108 that you leave and then you take a gig with a news station.
Oh, they switched to country and fired us.
Well, this is the story. Okay. Is this when, does Jeff Lumby come in with Mike Richards, or do I have a different era here?
No, he was on the rock station 95.3 at that time.
Gotcha,
and
gotcha.
we just missed each other. But Jeff and I started working together at Dave FM in Kitchener. I was producing.
He was in France now.
He's in France now. Yes, him and the missus are in France.
Okay, they fled the coup here.
Yep,
they
have
escaped
left
before the invasion.
Well, they left before everybody else did, so they're good.
Yeah, they moved to France during a global pandemic, as I recall here.
But they did it before, anything weird happened. They did this on their own accord. They're not afraid of anything. They're good.
Right.
They're good.
We're all going to be moving into their rural estate because we need to
Coming to
avoid
visit, Jeff.
the invasion. Okay. So you got a tap on the shoulder at 108, and they said, Mike, you've been here over a decade, but your services are no longer required.
Usually it's 2 sentences in a row. It's usually, Mike, can we see you in the office? And the second question is, and can you close the door behind you? If you ever work in radio and you hear those 2 sentences, you should be packing.
And if you see
Grab
someone
your
else
keys.
there, like a member, like an HR person or somebody, and they have like a folder with them, it doesn't matter your industry. Like you're going to be told your services are no longer required. They're going to slide a piece of paper in a folder or something to you to review and sign, and then you're going to not sign that until you talk to a labor lawyer. That's my advice anyway.
Yeah, it's good advice. Actually.
Good advice, because they're always going to try to lowball you on that thing. But you bounce back, my friend. You got back into the radio game. Tell me about what you did post Energy 108.
Post Energy 108. Well, I've been working the last dozen years or so over at Dave Rocks, and I did some stuff with 91.5 The Beat, that cluster. My last job actually was doing mornings on CJOY 1460. I was thrilled to be able to fill the shoes of McAdory, Mr. McAdory, who did that show before going to CTV or television anyway.
You mean Bob McAdory?
Yeah.
He went to Global.
Yeah, it was a Global, okay.
But we talked about his niece, Michelle McAdory, who was in the early Blue Rodeo videos like Try.
I didn't know that. Was that?
And she's a singer. She was in Crash Vegas, kind of a cool 90s band
really
with
cool.
Greg Keeler. Yeah. But her uncle, Bob McAdory, I used to see him on Global TV. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my last job was at CJY, and he did that job, and it's like, every day I was like, Bob used to stand here. I feel good. Bob, I'm doing what Bob was doing. I felt good there just because I was standing in a place where legends were once.
Shout out to Bruce Barker, too.
Oh, Barker.
Been down
Barks.
here.
Yes. Oh, I love Barks. Yeah, actually, we left. We departed the building the same day.
Well, I kind of want this story here, and then we'll get back to what you're up to now. But so you were doing lots of things. So these are a bunch of Chorus-owned stations, but you were doing mornings on CJOY.
That's correct. Yeah.
You were doing like a midday show possibly on Dave Rocks.
Yes, at the same time.
And you were doing evenings on Magic 106.
Yep.
And you were doing Sundays on 101.1 Big FM.
Yes.
Okay, so Mike Devine, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 4 jobs?
Pretty much. Well, one was kind of volunteer.
But you're on 4 different stations. Even if it doesn't matter what you're being paid or not, you're on 4 different Chorus Entertainment stations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you were there a long time. Why the hell would they tap Mike Devine on the shoulder when he's the value you're getting? Like, he should be given 4 salaries.
Yeah, that's a really good statement. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, that's a good comment. But yeah, thank you for that. But good question. I have no idea what they would do that.
Now, Chorus, it's no secret. We're not telling tales out of school. They have major financial problems in that company.
That probably would be it.
So essentially, global stations that were 2 people became 1. I know we talked about Bob Willett a couple of times. He's going to have to cut me a check for all this Bob Willett talk here. He's saving radio on Energy 108, But Bob Willett was program director for the Chorus cluster in Kingston, and he was tapped on the shoulder. And then the whole freaking Kingston empire from Bill Wilichka outward were tapped on the shoulder. Like the taps coming from Chorus are fast and furious, and you just got caught up in this wave of cost cutting.
Yeah, it's really fast. It goes quickly.
But does it still hurt? Does it hurt? Like, you were there a long time. You did amazing at all these stations. I can imagine you must be bitter.
Well, I'm not angry. I know that's just the way it is. The economy, the advertising dollars have changed quite a bit. Although there is new information that came out last week that stipulates that Gen Z happened to have defaulted to regular radio again. So that could be a new thing. Yeah.
So, because I don't know what Gen Z is exactly, but I have a almost 21-year-old and a 23-year-old. I don't think they know how to get radio. Like, I don't think radio's on their radar at all. But you're telling me young people are rediscovering radio?
According to a story that was released, I think it was Friday. It was going through the prep services, and a lot of people have been talking about this. Like Milkman, he even posted, "Can you believe it? Gen Z, they're taken to FM radio." So this could be a resurgence. Who knows?
Is it because they like the ads, or is it because they don't want to listen to anything on demand? They want to just be surprised when something plays.
Yeah, I'm hearing that they're getting sick and tired of all of this on demand, stream, and they want to try the stuff that we did. They hear that Gen X is really cool.
They're like, I don't want to know what's
do it.
playing until I hear it.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to be able to skip, and I sure don't want to pause, and I don't want...
I think that's what we had as Gen X and Boomers. Gen X, we had a lot of the thrill of anticipation. And when you have everything on demand, you don't have that anticipation. You don't get to wait for something. I mean, the thrill of holding that pause button for your favorite song to come on is gone.
But that thrill existed because we had no other option.
But there was a thrill.
It's funny. I'm trying to go with you on this, except that
there's no thrill now as much, I guess, and that's why I think they're trying it out. But
I think Alan Cross himself referred to radio as an unprogrammable iPod. I just
that's good.
I don't know who's spinning what, and again, I'm rooting personally, and we're going to talk about this in a minute more deeper here, but I'm rooting for PartyDogRadio.com. That's what I'm rooting for. And maybe I need to understand more about exactly what the format is over there. Like, this is an internet-based radio station?
Yes, it's an online station. In Europe, I guess you would call it DAB, digital audio broadcast. Oh. In North America, we call it streaming.
Sure.
So, yeah, if you just go to PartyDogRadio.com, you'll see a listen live. You just hit the button.
Amazing.
And you can stream like you could any other streaming device.
Okay, so we can hear
the car.
Mike and Mandy would be the morning show.
Yes. Yeah.
So is it like regular radio where you have to catch it live or you miss it and it's just constant stream?
Well, the Mike and Mandy show goes 6 to 10 Eastern on weekdays and Saturdays from 10 to 3. And yeah, it's just basically they come in for about a minute or two and talk about lifestyle and different things. Very, very relatable stuff, like the top 5 things people would argue about in a car ride or on a long trip. Things that are really uber relatable. And the music of Party Dog Radio is music of Generation X, because I've heard that Generation X has very
we loved radio.
Music.
Well, also we loved radio. I feel like I know this. I'm just not buying the. I'm not buying the Gen Z is into radio bullshit. Like, I just don't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds like a radio.
I was surprised.
But I don't. I just don't. It doesn't pass my sniff test. It just doesn't pass. But you're seducing Gen X, right? Like, Gen X, is Gen X your target audience? Because you're playing Gen X music. Are you trying to get Gen X to listen? Is that the deal?
I'm trying to get everyone to listen because Gen X is Gen X is just, it's been targeted. It's been targeted as a cool place. A cool place for music. It's a cool attitude. It's common knowledge on TikTok. You don't mess with them. There they are.
Playing just enough to get me blocked from Spotify here. Okay, especially because it's Led Zeppelin here. Okay.
Yep, Jimmy from 50 years ago.
You can listen in the browser, or you can listen via your favorite player, be it QuickTime or VLC, my favorite player, or Windows Media Player. Okay, and it's, are you live?
I'm live during the afternoons, yes. And Mike and Mandy, we have that. I would love to say that we're live, but that's not a live show. But the afternoon drive show is, yes.
So who owns PartyDogRadio.com music for Gen X?
That would be me.
So this is you're blowing my mind right now, Mike. Okay, so I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on with you after you got that chorus tap, like so many great broadcasters. But it sounds like you've, picked yourself off. There you are. Okay, I'm reading now. Mike and Mandy Mornings. Geez, the Mike and Mandy Show is a morning radio program airing on Party Dog Radio, a station that brands itself as your Gen X music channel. The show is scheduled on weekdays from 6 to 10 Eastern Party Dog Radio, in addition to their morning slot on Party Dog Radio, Mike and Mandy's show is featured on other platforms. Okay, there are some other places you can catch the Mike and Mandy show. Good for you, man.
Thank you.
Good for you. I'm glad that, you're gone. You're going to, tow your own garden. Is that what you hoe your own garden? You tow your own road? What are you doing here? But that's very cool. I hope everybody listening checks out partydogradio.com. Would you consider, like, if a station, like a good old-fashioned terrestrial station, by the way, they're now playing, there's a Canadian connection to this. Shout out to Alexander Mayer and the good people at Attic Records. But they're now playing Katrina in the Waves.
Yep.
Okay, partydogradio.com.
Oh, you got it on live there. Nice.
You have no idea what's going to come out of this. This is live.
This is great.
I'm just watching. Okay, cool. Great history with Attic Records on that channel. Actually, you gotta get that history.
Attic Records, I love them.
Yeah, well, they did the Maestro Fresh West stuff.
That's right.
Too, because he Drop the Needle opens with a sample from Haywire.
Yeah,
right.
Dance Desire.
And yes, you got it. You know your shit, man. That's why you should be on partydogradio.com. But they didn't clear that sample. So the deal made from Attic and Maestro, the deal was that Attic would distribute Maestro's music in Canada. This was like the deal that was struck.
Is that how that worked?
That's how that worked. Okay, I'm your one-stop shopping for everything Maestro Fresh West.
But it's kind of ironic that they couldn't do it in the States, even though Haywire was also Canadian.
Well, they had LMV or whatever Stevie B was with, whatever his label was, had distribution in the States. It was just the Canada deal. But here, so we now know what you're up to now. We kind of burned through the chorus years, but you were in radio a long time. Looking back at your radio career, not your internet radio career, but your terrestrial radio career, what station brings you the most joy to reflect upon?
Oh, geez. Okay, well, I would probably have to say a cross between Energy 108, especially in the early and mid years, because we were treading new territory we'd never done before.
Sounds like an exciting place to be.
Yeah, it was all trial and error, and fortunately for us, when the ratings came out, we were getting good books. We were going up 50,000. Wow. One time we went up about 70,000. We were getting up to about 700,000 listeners at one point weekly, and it was very exciting because you're doing this on no budget. You're doing this purely on the love of music, and it's trial and error. We're not going by any charts. We're reading off a bunch of charts and developing this new thing.
Yeah.
And Scott really had his ear to the ground on everything. All of the DJs, announcers were really, really vibing with the entire thing, and it was a very exciting time. I'd have to say, Energy and also Z103. It was very.
Well, Z103. I'm going to play here. Let's listen to this. Hold on. Okay. See what I got here at my sleeve.
4. Hanging out with your party dog. Yes, baby. 1998. February 2. No, it's February 7th. I can't even look at the map properly. Hello. I need to go to the telephone lines and put some people on the radio. I have a special person I want to put on the radio right now. Who's this?
My name's Tia, and the next song is Dr. Jones Hits 103.5.
Well, thank you very much. Hot Hits at 6. Number 5.
Okay, so that's Hits 103. I'm going to keep track of all this stuff here. Okay, so do you mind, here, on our way out here.
That was my daughter, by the way.
Okay, say her name, Tia?
Tia.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's amazing. That's your daughter.
Yeah,
amazing.
She was like 7 at that time.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do on our way out. I actually loaded up a bunch of clips, but I didn't play them all. So we're going to actually walk through them all, okay? See if they jog a memory or anything like that. You ready? So here's my remaining clips here.
New music news, remixes, interviews, club and concert listing, and concert announcements. This is Street Beat, exclusive property of Energy 108.
Yeah, that's that news magazine show with Scott and Pam, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. That was a part of that commitment we had to do back then.
Amazing.
Street Beat,
Now I hear that, I know Bumper Morgan, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. Okay, one more bumper here.
Dance Music Nation. Longitude 79.38 west. Latitude 43.40 north. Dance Music Station 107.9. Energy 108.
Wow. That's definitely a statement there. It's our legal top hour there. Yeah.
Here we go.
Toronto's Best Party 107.9. Energy 108.
Yeah, they're the original IDs there.
And this is your show, I believe.
Now Canada's #1 old school jam.
Oh, there it is.
This is the original Old School Hour on Energy 108.
Yeah, that's that noon hour one.
Okay, and then I want to hear a bit more of you here.
Hey everyone, this is Maggie in Jackson Brainford. I'd like to say hi to everyone at Resurrection School, especially Carl B, Joey, Joe, Jordan, Nick, Jacob, Brett, Matt, Tina, Dave, Aaron, Shasta, Paul,
Oh, the long list.
and Ashley Watson. And an extra special hi to Carla and Jennifer Lucia. I'd like to say hi to Nicole, Carrie, Heather, Jackie, Cynthia, Jen, Renee, Megan, Chris, Marta, Frank, Ange, Matt, Vince, Aaron, and the rest of the grade 8 class at Resurrection School. Your number 8 song is asked by Blackburn on the hit music station. Energy 108!
Dwayne Blackburn. Rob Blackburn. This is Brooke Blackburn coming at you. Yes, it's Jamal Cornell Blackburn, and we are Blackburn. Picking up my man, Mr. Mike Devine, the doggy dog on Energy 108.
Tell me that
The doggy dog. One more here, Mike. I've loved this.
About to witness your DJ for this evening. Hello. Hit me. This is a test. It's serious. It's a dream. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Ladies and gentlemen. Let the rhythm take you. Yeah. The rhythm. Music. Oh, I love stuff.
Now, here comes the music.
Are you ready? Okay, boys. Here we go. Yeah, you know, man. You get your party dog in for Wayne Williams this week, and boy, I hope you're marking down all the songs looking through the top 10 at 8. Be marking down all songs number 10 right through to number 1, and this is what we got for you, okay? A nice little prize pack. It includes this, the Energy 108 Pick of the Week, a copy of Janet Jackson's soon-to-be-released The Velvet Rope, which features the current hit, Got Till It's Gone, and a couple of passes to join Energy 108 this Friday, October the 4th, with The Joker with Scott Turner for the official CD release party of Janet Jackson's new CD, The Velvet Rope. Also a couple of passes for Canada's Bridal Show, 97, taking place at Metro Toronto Convention Center this weekend, October 3, 4, and 5, and a couple of tickets for Canada's first Star Wars convention. You can meet the men behind the mask this Sunday, October the 5th at the Colony Hotel in T.O. Let's get on with the countdown. And who's this?
Hey, this is Lori from Oakville. I'd like to say hi to my friends Lisa, Teresa, Tanya, Beverly, and all the guys. But also say hi to my boyfriend Mike. And the number 9 song is Piece of My Heart by Shaggy on the hit music station Energy 108.
My darling, let's deal with the makeup.
Wow.
Radio sounded kind of different then.
You know what? It
A lot of
brings me
phones.
right back. But I dig that. I dig that whole vibe there. Holy smokes! We hear about the Canada's first Star Wars
I know, right?
convention or something. Do you know the person who invented who designed the lightsaber for Star Wars, A New Hope, the original one, and also designed the Millennium Falcon? Did you? I think R2D2 too. Did you know that person lives not far from here in Mimico?
I did not know that.
See, this is he's come over for a deep dive. His name is Roger Christian. People can Google it and check out his bona fides. He was like a set decorator who worked on that first Star Wars, and he's responsible for the lightsaber, R2D2, the Millennium Falcon. Just a fun fact for you, Mike Devine, that you could share. You could borrow that and spread it throughout the country. On partydogradio.com.
Music for Gen X.
Music for Gen X. I am Gen X. Dude, I love this chat. Did we didn't miss anything that you were burning to talk about on your drive here, did you? Or
we covered so much, and thank you so much for having me on. I'm very grateful.
I love talking radio.
Same here.
The last radio ep I did, I think, was Andy Wilson from Zoomer.
Oh, really?
Who's now the program director over there. And so it's been a few weeks, and just love hearing about your adventures in radio. We needed a little more Jesse and Jean, I think, but...
I got stories. We'll have to do this another time.
Let me guess. Those stories are going to be in the book.
Yeah. The book.
Thanks for doing this,
Thank
man.
you.
I think you set the record for most swag because you've got the speaker and the silver wax, and you still get the lasagna and the beer and the measuring tape. So
I'm
you
gonna
did
have to
well
start
here
jogging.
today.
Woo, I'm gonna get big.
Share that.
Thank you.
Share that lasagna with the family, but maybe the kids don't get the beer. How old are the kids? How old is he? Is it just the one daughter?
I got yes, I'm my 34-year-old daughter now. So
she can have some Great Lakes beer as well.
She can too. Yes.
Yeah, it's like I'm hearing these clips from a long time ago, and it's like, oh yeah, a lot of time has passed since those clips. That's wild.
Yeah, some of those are upwards to 30 years.
Jeez, I can't believe that little girl we heard in that clip.
She was only 7. She's 34 now.
That's amazing.
That's
Good
my
for
girl.
you, man. You're living the life.
Thank you.
The party dog making his Toronto Mike debut. I can't wait to take the photo by the tree. Hopefully it's not snowing out there. Like the forecast today is really ugly.
And it's summer tomorrow. It's like 20 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm not
what a
kidding.
time. This is a weird time in Toronto.
That's what happens when you live under a jet stream. So
And that brings us to the end of our 1,662nd show.
1662.
You can get a tattoo with that number on it, like to commemorate.
I'm gonna put on one of these stickers. 1662.
And thanks for the stickers, man. And thanks for the pens. I'm always looking for a pen.
Yeah, I got a bunch here. Take 'em.
Jeez. And every time I pick up this pen, I'll be like, I got to get my ass to partydogradio.com.
Does this show up like in forward or?
I don't know. Well, we'll find out when I'm going to throw it on YouTube. And they're going to be like, you played Led Zeppelin. Get out of here. Much love to all who made this possible. That is
And Katrina and the Waves.
And shout out to the late, great Al Mayer.
Absolutely.
They're both gone now. The two attic guys are gone, Mr. Williams and Mr. Mayer, so sadly. But Great Lakes Brewery, if you want fresh craft beer, they're still here for us, and they're hosting us on June 26th. Palma Pasta is feeding us on June 26th. Get your ass to Great Lakes from 6 to 9 p.m. for TMLX 18. Thank you, Maneras, for coming back. We can't wait to hear Al in Regina for Season 8. Silver Wax, brand new sponsor. That bucket, that kit, you can buy it at silverwax.ca. Use the promo code TorontoMike10. Dude, your car is going to be so freaking clean. You won't believe it.
And look at that shine.
RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Building Toronto's skyline with Nick Iones and, of course, Brad Jones and the good people at Ridley Funeral Home. See you all. Got to go to my calendar, man. I've lost track of who's
I just
next
heard the
here.
Friendly Giant riff in there. It was in there.
Rob Pruce from, speaking of Burlington, Rob Pruce from Spoons did that.
Really? Cool.
Tomorrow's Ed Keenan. Ed Keenan from the Toronto Star comes on once a quarter, and we have a lot to discuss, actually. Ed Keenan on Toronto Mike, 2 p.m. tomorrow. See you all then.